Guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are doing okay in this freezing. It is freezing here. It is freezing. I don't, the temperature is like -4 right now. I can't even step outside. It's crazy out there. I hope you guys are staying safe. I know some places in America is on fire. My heart goes out to the people that have lost their houses, that have lost properties. I salute the firefighters that keep on fighting. I Everyone is really trying in these hard times, and I hope you guys are staying safe and doing okay. Anyway, there's this video where Piers Morgan from Piers Morgan Uncensored, he brought in Candice Owens and Michaela Peterson. I think that is Jordan Peterson's daughter. And they talked about Elon Musk. They talked about immigration. They talked about all kinds of stuff. And things got really, really heated. Anyway, without further ado, let's just get into it.
2025 is going to be so much fun. Well, indeed it is, because I'm now going to bring these two together. Candice Owens, host of the Candance podcast, and Mikhaila Peterson, co-founder of Peterson Academy, both join me now. Welcome to both of you. Happy New Year to both of you. And Candice, you said it's going to be fun this year. Here we go. What was your big objection to what Mikhaila said?
Well, first and foremost, just to be someone that's so new in this country and then to immediately castigate or to cast aside everybody that's in here and say, well, guess what? You're just a bunch of racists. You don't like brown skin, while at the same time referring to us as woke, was just mind-boggling to me. Just as Steve Bannon said, it means that she hasn't spent the time to understand who and what the American people are, what the MAGA movement is, and why they have concerns about this program. And so to make sure that everybody around the world understands why this is such a big debate, the H-1B visa program is essentially a foreign worker visa that allows employers to hire workers into quote unquote specialty programs, essentially for people who have some sort of a specialized knowledge. But to be clear, the program has been around since 1990, so the results aren't up for debate. We were just simply lied to about what we were told it was going to do, which was to source the top 1% of talent globally. Instead, they're using the program to source cashiers, teachers, janitors, PR people. So I'm going to have to believe that the American people are very much capable and willing to fulfill those positions, and that instead this program has been completely abused to get foreign workers here who then have a pathway to citizenship, and it lowers worker wages and it's harming the American people. So I am not fond of it. And I'll add here that prior to his passing, Lou Dobbs of Fox News looked into the program and he determined that 7 out of the 10 H-1B positions were being outsourced from Indian corporations to American corporations. So it's not globally looking at the 1%. And 5 of those 7 positions were category 1, which essentially just means that they didn't require any specialized knowledge. These are the janitors, these are the teachers, and they are just taking jobs away from the American people. So I just found her referring to this as an issue with being brown, or Americans having an issue with brown people, to be almost comical, to be honest. And I'd love to hear her further explain that position.
Okay, well, we're now going to hear it. Mikhaila, over to you.
So I don't know, Candice, if you're seeing what I'm seeing on X, but when I saw the H-1B debate going around, mostly what I saw was racism against Indians specifically.
Oh, come on.
And I'm not saying
the
there isn't a problem with
racism.
the visa issue in the States in general.
Not racism. I mean, not racism. We know the left talk about racism nonstop. Not don't do it. Not the racism. Come on, I thought we've moved past this. Jesus.
Getting top talent here is very difficult. Like, I had a very difficult time getting in, and I'm married to an American, and it was long and annoying, and they don't have a proper way to test people. So there's plenty of flaws to talk about. But I think right before the inauguration, having conservatives argue like amongst ourselves about an H-1B visa issue when we have an open border is silly, especially when it does kind of dredge up what I called the woke right on X. And I know you've scoffed at the term the woke right, but it encompasses these people that are focused on anti-Semitism, Jews, and they're pro-America, but their idea of America is this white America, similar to, I guess, what everyone's been arguing about for the last 200 years whenever anybody new comes into the country. And I do think it has to do with race. And I think you can see that from comments on Twitter. I mean, Vivek put up a picture. I don't know if you saw it. It wasn't Vivek. It was this horrible woman on Twitter. What's her name? something lupus. She's a doctor. She goes, oh, what do you guys think about this? Thoughts. And it's a picture of Vivek and his brown family. And one of the most interacted with comments was subversive brown poop eating parasites. And that's what flooded my feed. And I think I had some irritation because I'm, aligning with conservatives because the woke left has been a disaster for America and for Canada and for the West for years. And it's just frustrating to see them go at each other over something like an H-1B when there are bigger issues like an open border. And I think people are misunderstanding the H-1B, although it does have its issues as well. There's also the H-2B, which nobody knows about, and that's for people who are paid lower. The average wage for an H-1B visa is $118K. So there was all this talk on Twitter about how these people are underpaid and everything. $118K is pretty good. Companies, I don't think most companies, especially tech companies, are hiring H-1Bs to become more successful, to make more money. You're not making more money by getting H-1B visas in. You're making more money by having a successful company, by hiring top talent. So I don't think we're completely not aligned entirely, because I agree the visa process in America is ridiculous. And it doesn't test people, like I said, properly. But I think it's silly to fracture the Conservative Party by arguing about 85,000 H-1B visas when we have an open border. And I don't like the racism.
Okay.
This is, let me just say something here. The H-1B, I know about it because I know some of my, a couple of my family members used it to get here. And as much as it was what it was. It wasn't like they were like the geniuses. Like it has flaws in it, and I understand people's argument. I understand it has flaws in it. People game the system and use it to come over here instead of doing it the right way. That's another way that you could use to do it. Well, like I said before, it has a lot of flaws in it. But people having conversations about it is not woke. People having disagreements about it is not woke. People voted for change, and that means America first. When they say America first, it means Americans first. And then you can talk about other people. That is what people voted for. I'm certain that is what people voted. When they say America first, that is what America first is. America first. If you have a job for specific, kinds of people, American people have first dibs on it. If you can find an American that is qualified to do that job, then that's fine. You can outsource it to whoever you want to outsource it to. But Americans come first. That was the mandate. That was what people voted for. That was what conservatives voted for en masse. So, and this, I used to think this chick is intelligent. I used to think this chick, there's just something. Whenever I see her debate or argue, she always comes from this emotional place. She doesn't really see the big picture. She doesn't really understand the big picture. She argues from an emotional place. I'm even surprised that she's conservative. I don't even know how she's conservative. But anyway, let's get into it.
Candace, do you see common ground there and what you just heard from Mikhaila? And what do you also feel about the fact that for Steve Bannon and the diehard MAGA group, they look at this as a betrayal when they see Vivek and Elon and now Trump as well, all piling in, enthusiastically supporting this. They say, well, hang on, that's not about making America great again. They're not buying into, we need to get all these brilliant people coming here. They think it's a system that's being abused and that it goes against the spirit of MAGA. So you're seeing a real interesting debate raging about the heart of what MAGA really means.
I think Steve Bannon fully has his finger on the pulse there, so he's completely right. And just to respond to the point about seeing racist comments on Twitter, I've heard this argument a lot of times from people where they'll suddenly pretend that if you take a position of something and they can find a racist comment beneath it, then you're on the side of the racist.
That's not what I'm doing.
That's just called Well, I'm just saying that literally since the day that I started my accounts on Instagram, I've been called the N-word from left and the right. It's just welcome to the internet. Doesn't mean that these are the positions that are represented. In fact, this conversation that we're having is something that I would almost refer to as MAGA 101. This is like a freshman year class in MAGA college. I've been hearing this debate, have spoken about this debate on stage. I mean, I've spoken at more than 100 universities. And to be frank with you, because I came over from the left, when I first got into this movement, I thought the same thing. I thought, okay, well, I don't understand what the issue is if it's legal migration. But I then listened to people and I wanted to understand where people were coming from. And I opened my mind to what they were saying and realized that they were very much correct. And I think that's sort of where you get into trouble with the MAGA movement, when you just instantly sweep away and condemn everyone and say, well, some people were saying racist stuff about Indians, and so this entire argument now is based on racism. It simply isn't. Vivek, I personally stumped for Vivek. So if you think that I'm going to be on board with people being racist for him, when I went on the ground with him all throughout Iowa when he was running for president, of course, I'm also brown myself. But I understand that this has nothing to do with the merits of the arguments that are being presented here. And it is just a fact that the H-1B visa, the majority of the people that are coming into this country are not coming in with any extraordinary skills, are not coming in because they're a part of the 1%. It is being completely abused and jobs are being taken away from the American people. Now, Piers, to your point about the MAGA rift, I'm glad to see it. I very much agree with Steve Bannon. I mean, the last estimate that was done, by the way, and this speaks to Mikhaila, you saying it's just 85,000 people that are allowed annually. Well, the last estimate that was done in 2019 approximated that 600,000 foreign nationals were here on this visa program, all of them being provided with a pathway to citizenship that doesn't include in 2 years. You can then get out of that program and become a permanent resident. Okay, so that they're allowed to stay in this country from up to 6 years. They don't apply for permanent residency. Of course, we can assume that the majority of them do. And they're allowed to stay up to 10 years if they go to work for the Department of Defense. Again, all of these applicants have a pathway to citizenship. So you just imagine, you're like, yeah, I just went to work in America as a teacher for a couple of years and I became a citizen, or as a janitor for a couple of years and I became a citizen. It's not okay. And I want to be clear, all across the board, it's not just the H-1B. There's a ton of visa programs that are being routinely abused. And like I said, I have faith in the American people. I think that the American people can fulfill those positions. I know they can fulfill those positions. And so I am not on the side of Elon Musk and Trump in this debate. And I think that, Elon Musk has been at Mar-a-Lago for a bit too long and thinks that that is the sample of what MAGA is. And it simply isn't. Steve Bannon has been on the ground and spoken to those people for years. He understands what they're saying. And it would be gracious for Elon Musk to kind of step down and recognize that he's simply wrong in this debate.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, you actually posted to me on X, of course, owned by Elon Musk. You said, we'll have to get together in the new year so you can let me finish what I was going to say about Elon Musk. A lot has happened since I didn't finish that sentence. Exciting dialogue awaits. And we did leave people on a slight cliffhanger about Elon Musk. So now's your chance to finish that sentence, and then I'll get Mikhaila to respond. But I mean, Musk he's everywhere right now, literally poking his head into every country, it seems, in the world, particularly my country, where he's just in the last 2 days, he's called for the king to dissolve parliament, which he can't actually do. He's called for Sir Keir Starmer, the prime minister, to be imprisoned. He's hammered a previous prime minister, Gordon Brown. He's called another senior member of the cabinet here, an evil woman, Jess Phillips, who's been waging a rape genocide apology tour, I think is how he put it. I mean, this is inflammatory, incendiary stuff. What do you think his game plan is here?
Well, that was what I was going to say to you. And for people that haven't watched it, we were able to sit down and speak about a variety of issues, but we did disagree on Elon Musk. You said that he was a superhero, and I didn't say that he hadn't done superheroic things. I thought that he was going to rescue speech on X. Even that's up for debate now, given the H-1B visa debate. But I was never keen on him essentially buying a seat at the table, which is what he's done, because we don't know what Elon Musk believes. I am a Christian conservative. Elon Musk, of course, is going to be at odds with me and my beliefs because he wants to put brain chips in people's minds. He wants to go to Mars. These things conflict with me theologically. I think he's a transhumanist. What are his perspectives on marriage? He's had how many different women? I think he has up to 13 different children. What is Elon Musk's endgame? game. And we have not seen people interview him fairly. They're either incredibly hostile to him, like you saw with Don Lemon, or they're too friendly to him, and which they just see him as a superhero. And I would actually like to see someone sit down and flesh out what Elon Musk actually believes. What is his goal? What is he trying to contribute? Because I don't think you can say that you are a conservative if you are not ultimately trying to conserve the nuclear family unit. And I don't think that he's trying to do any of those things. And so we're now seeing that, okay, maybe this is about AI for him. Maybe this is about data collection for him. Maybe this is about him wanting to be the first person and getting a leg into federal governments so that he can do things that are on a larger scale in terms of artificial intelligence. I don't know the answer to that. And not knowing the answer to that made me uncomfortable when people did what we always speak against, which is essentially turn him into a celebrity, that worship him like he's Taylor Swift, and think that because he's got tons of money and bought X, that he's now suddenly allowed to direct us on politics. I just am not into celebrity worship culture.
Candace.
Yeah, I also want to add here, just just regarding Elon Musk shifting gears and even speaking about that issue, you are correct. Obviously, I follow UK politics to some degree because of who I'm married to. And I will tell you that it very much seemed to me like he was drudging up this issue because he was getting so much backlash on the H-1B visa. So I don't really know how sincere Elon Musk was when he weighed into that issue at all. Suddenly,
no one's
do you
not
mind if I finish my sentence,
no
Mikhaila? You've just been talking for a long time. Do you mind if I
there's not a time.
There's not a time. Do you mind if I finish my sentence?
Another, it's hard to address them all.
Do you mind if I finish my sentence? I feel like I've let you speak.
I mean, a bit, but go ahead.
Everyone's speaking.
Go ahead.
You mind letting me finish my sentence?
Go ahead.
Thank you, Mikhaila. So what I was just going to say is it seemed very much to us that he was just trying to shift gears because basically he was trending for almost 2 weeks over the H-1B visa, and he was doubling down, tripling down, quadrupling down. And then suddenly he's just advising on UK politics. And like you said, this issue hasn't been going on forever. It was extensively covered by the mainstream media. It was not brought up by Tommy Robinson. We can have a discussion about what's going on in the UK. That's great. I'm glad that he has spotlighted the issue. But you are correct that most Americans are not up to date on what's happening there. So it did seem like a random shift. And Mikhaila, I do have to say, you say that you're not into celebrity culture, but the way that you respond regarding Elon Musk is very much like a Swiftie. I mean, you haven't even heard what I have to say. You're defending everything he says and does to the point that all you do is issue ad hominem attacks. I mean, your first response back when we were speaking about Elon Musk is, well, it must be an IQ thing if people don't understand him. You keep just calling people stupid. People are racist. No, people are having a different opinion than Elon Musk. You don't have to have a higher IQ than Elon Musk to have a different opinion from him. Quite frankly, I don't think he is the most socially sharp person in the entire world. He's done incredible things. We can definitely say that he is a genius. It does not make him right on issues of immigration spanning from here to the UK. It's ridiculous. I mean, he's not a king.
Mikhaila?
I think saying that Elon is upset about child rape because a bunch of people he doesn't really care about were flapping about the H-1B visa is ridiculous. And I think it's funny that you mentioned ad hominem attacks after you released a 26-minute video detailing my dad's benzo withdrawal and allergic reactions out on YouTube. It's just funny, like you're going after me for ad hominem.
Well, actually, look, now you've mentioned that, I was going to bring that. Well, hang on. I was going to bring that up. For those who don't know what you're talking about, let's play a little clip from that.
Oh, I didn't sleep that month. I didn't sleep for 25 days. I didn't sleep at all. I didn't sleep at all for 25 days.
How is that possible?
I'll tell you how it's possible. You lay in bed, frozen in something approximating terror for 8 hours, and then you get up.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah, not
and
good.
This is from cider.
I feel like Joe Rogan is all of us. I'm listening to that and it doesn't pass the sniff test. I'm just going, wait, what, apple cider? You didn't sleep for how long? What are you talking about? He brings up Mikhaila, by the way, that's his daughter. We're going to get into it. That explanation does not make sense to me whatsoever. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not claiming to know how everybody's body reacts to apple cider, but I just don't think that you wouldn't sleep for that long because of it.
Okay, so Mikhaila, well, I'll come to you in a moment, Candace. Mikhaila, how did you feel when you heard about that?
Well, I think it's funny because, like, we're connected online, Candace. So if she has an issue with my family, she could literally just message me. Her husband has my husband's phone number, you know. So it's just like a weird thing to do. I don't know where it came from. As for the apple cider reaction, I've gone over this so many times, but it's fair if Candance didn't know this. Although I don't know why you would make a 26-minute video without doing some research. It wasn't apple cider. It was a sodium metabisulfite allergy. And it was near anaphylaxis. And people don't sleep in that state. And when we went through that, which was horrible, it was horrible. We had a hard time with the medical system. We didn't know how to treat it. It took us like years to figure out what the allergy was. If you talk to a doctor and say you have that allergy, they go, what's that? Like, it's not a common allergy, but it's not uncommon. You can Google it. And it just seems a little bit cruel to like pull that up. You also started that video by saying, you know, why is Jordan Peterson's audience, male audience, like diminishing? Let's get into it, which is just, it's manipulative, right? It's not true. So you have this giant audience, Candance, and you say these things as if they're true, which confuses people when they're not. So I don't know what to say about it. It's aggravating, and I think it's a mean girl high school tactic.
Okay, Candance, you're a mean girl.
Again, accusing me of ad hominem attacks when I feel like she's engaging in them. Just to be clear and to contextualize this clip, Jordan Peterson was trending. I cover trends, I cover the news, and I think it's fair to cover topics when they come to the surface. He was essentially tweeting ad hominem attacks that were written like sonnets. It was very bizarre, and people were going, what's going on with Dr. Jordan Peterson? And it became a Twitter trend, and so I covered it. Is there something wrong with covering a trending topic? I certainly don't think there is, or I wouldn't have a podcast or things to speak about. Regarding your father's audience, there were a lot of people who, after his addiction and feeling like he was not honest about his addiction, a lot of men who sort of switched off from Jordan Peterson. I mean, that is just a fact. I understand and respect that it is your father, and so you're naturally going to be defensive of him. And if it was a family member of mine, I would naturally be defensive of him. But to pretend like I plucked the topic out of pure air simply to be a mean girl, and not because it was trending, literally saying that people are wondering what's going on with Jordan Peterson, I think that's you not being very genuine about why I was discussing it. And I think that I was tremendously respectful. I also paid him a huge compliment. I think his book and what it did for men worldwide at a time when men were being completely stomped on and masculinity was being questioned. And I said I would never remove that and would never take the credit away from him. But there have been some things that have just registered to the public as odd. I didn't make your father trend that day. So I think he's able to deal with a little bit of criticism.
You want to respond, Mikhaila?
I guess I'm just confused because Candance said she wasn't into celebrity culture. So then I thought maybe it was just a personal thing. If it's not about a celebrity, but maybe I just got that wrong. I don't know what else I can respond to about that. People can listen to, can I finish? Thank you. People can listen to the 26-minute. Like, you can say, oh, I said something nice at the end. It's the same thing when you say these things and your tone is off. You can be like, oh, tone doesn't matter. But you say things sometimes in a bit of a manipulative fashion to get people to think a certain way. And then when people bring them up, you go, well, those aren't the words I said. But tone matters too. Anyway, people can go on YouTube and listen to the 26-minute section of your video on Dad and see what they think. I think it's high school mean girl tactics. I don't care if you think that's ad hominem either.
Candance?
Well, I would just say that when I was referring to celebrity culture, I meant worshiping people because they're celebrities. So I think that would make me ideologically consistent. And like I said, he was trending that day. I covered it as a trending topic. It's not a mean girl thing, but it might feel that way to you because it's your father and you have a personal relationship. You know, I can apologize if you are hurt from me covering the news. But like I said, we have to develop a thicker skin when we're in the public. How many things are said about me routinely on a daily basis? If people want to cover after I have, you know, an addiction and people say, hey, after this, I think people lost faith in Candance Owens and that becomes a trending topic. I think that's fair game. It may not feel good to me, but I think that it would be fair game and it would be newsworthy.
Okay.
You do know that 1/5 of Americans are on psych meds, right? Are you aware?
1/5. Is that even possible? 1/5. 1 in 5 people are in psych. I don't believe that. I think that is bullshit. I don't believe that. 1 in 5 people are in psych medication. I gotta research this stuff because it sounds outrageous. 1 in 5. I think it's BS. I mean, she's trying to make it her point, but I think it's BS. 1 in 5. I mean, come on, get the hell out of here. 1 in 5. God, let's continue.
Aware of the statistics?
Yes.
Are those all people
Wait,
with
what?
addictions? Like, is that your
I have to research this.
is that your view of people on psych meds just in general?
No, your father spoke out about his benzo addiction. So I don't understand why you're asking
Yeah,
me a
no,
question about people that take psych meds.
Benzo dependence.
What is the difference?
Maybe you don't know anything about this. If you're on a psych med long term, you form a dependence on it and it's very difficult to get off of. They're starting to teach this in medical school. It's a disaster because so many Americans are on psych meds. So yeah, he suffered from psych med withdrawal because they make you form a dependence on it, especially long term. Now, calling it an addiction as if he was on heroin or something is manipulative. You know, so when we talked about it and we were very honest about what was going on, part of it was to spread awareness that 1/5 of Americans are on medications that cause dependence and don't know it. It's horrible. People die because of it. So I think laughing about it is like, it's not cool.
I certainly don't think I laughed at it. I think benzo dependence is pretty much a euphemism for an addiction. And if you know anything about my work,
That's
and
the
me being
problem,
super
though.
crunchy and speaking about why I think medicines are bad because they do create dependencies, which then yield people going onto the streets for something stronger. I mean, the benzo addiction becomes a heroin addiction because the doctor won't write you the prescription anymore. So you turn to the streets for something stronger because your body is dependent on it. I'm sorry that, again, you are offended by this conversation simply because it is your father. I don't think I've been offensive in my language. And if you find it to be manipulative, that I think that it impacted the way that men saw him when they publicly were saying that on Twitter. We covered the tweets that people were writing on that day about how, you know, they used to idolize him. They're so grateful for his book, but this is not the person that they knew. Again, I'm sorry you're offended by that, but it's just the reality of what happened. And I can tell this is a sensitive topic for you, but it is what it is, Mikhaila. I don't know what to say. I don't think anybody's laughed at it. I think it's a good conversation to be had. And no one is more anti-big pharma than me. I mean, I have an entire series against big pharma. So
I don't even know where to start with that. You know, benzo addicts will go to the street for heroin. We were trying to spread
Is she
awareness
even listening
about
to anything she's
psych
saying?
med withdrawal. And we were very honest about what everybody was going through. I went through psych med withdrawal myself. It was one of the worst experiences in my life. It kills people, causes akathisia, which makes people suicidal. It's a terrible side effect. So that's what we were talking about. Now, if you want to twist that a little bit and be like, he's losing his audience because he's an addict, you know, I don't really know what to say.
Okay. I think we've had a robust exchange about that, and you both made your views very clear. Let's slightly lighten the mood here.
Anyway, that will be it for this video. It got really heated. I think Mikhaila she argues like a liberal, like what you will expect from a liberal, from an emotional. She doesn't even understand logic. She can't even rationally argue or debate with somebody. She just hears one word, focuses on that one word, and then generalize everything, and then even make up things that you didn't even say, just to she argues like a liberal. Everything, like this debate, watching this debate is like watching Candace argue with a liberal. And this is supposed to be a daughter of I saw a video, I think, was it a video of her saying that she has this high IQ. You know, she was talking about why men wouldn't want to date single mothers. And, you know, she was making a case for herself that she has a very high IQ. This is not a high IQ debate. Like, if anyone that looks at this, sees this and like, what is she even talking about? She argues from an emotion. She's fangirling over Elon. Like, it's just so, oh man. Anyway, I want to hear your thoughts. Leave your thoughts down below. And you know, this video is it really showcased a lot of things about her. And speaking of Jordan Peterson, he's been tweeting a lot of weird stuff. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie, I've been reading some weird, like, he's acting differently now. He's acting differently. He says things that I wouldn't think he would say. But that's another conversation for another time. But anyway, if you like the video, please hit that like button, hit the share button, leave your comments down below. I would love to read them. And if you may, please subscribe. You have a good one.